Hey y'all. So this week, for this week's discussion, I read an article called "Real Men, Real Depression," and so it was very interesting. It kind of talks about, it gives an overview of what depression is, and obviously we've read that. But then it kind of shows the difference. It kind of goes into a difference between men and women. And the way the article made it sound, I hate to say it, it was like women is kind of just, they kind of explained it like you see like the typical movie depression, I guess. Or I call it like the Twilight depression where like Bella's sad that Edward's gone. So I know that's a bad way to look at it, but that's how they kind of explain it. And that's what I think of it as, is the just the Twilight depression. Um, and that's kind of just how they summed it up. And then they talked about how for men, the signs and signals for depression in men is completely different, which it kind of shocked me, honestly. Reading the article, it shocked me that they would be, I don't want to say drastically different, but so different when they're struggling through the same disorder, essentially. And so I thought that was cool. And then after reading through that, I kind of clicked on another link, and it was related to another one called Men and Depression. And so that one actually talks about specifically men in depression and why, like statistically you see, a lot more women are depressed than men statistically. But the reason being is because, it's kind of hard to see it in men because, like I said, the signs and symptoms are drastically different, along with guys, I guess, and the more like machismo thing, don't really talk about feelings, I guess, in a sense. And so, if a guy is going through depressions or has some of these symptoms, they're going to be less likely to go see someone or go talk about it than a female would. And so just reading it, you kind of learned a lot about, yeah, how depression, I guess, affects men, because I never really thought it would affect a male different than a female. And you can really see that with the symptoms, the signs and symptoms of depression. I thought some of these were crazy because, like I said, when I think of depression, I think of like sadness and just um, depression. I know it's a bad way to say it, but like just sadness, just like straight up sadness, not happy at all. But one of the common ones in men is actually anger, irritability, and aggressiveness. And I feel like those are like exact opposite words of when I think of depression. I think just kind of like non-confrontational, just don't want to do anything. I don't think of being angry or anything like that. But that's one of the common ones for men. Another one that I didn't really associate was just, it says pains and aches. So like feeling achy, I'm having a lot of pains, a lot of headaches, or even it can cause IBS or irritable bowel syndrome. That is not something that I knew was common in cases of depression in men. Another one they said was overeating and undereating, and I could see that one was a little more clear to me. I could see how that would be related to depression. If maybe, if you're depressed, you either feel like maybe food could solve your problem, so you eat a lot more than you should, you overeat, or you're just so depressed you don't want to do anything and you just don't want to eat and you don't eat. So I could see how that one kind of relates to, I guess, like the typical depression, what we typically think of depression. And so it talks a lot about those. And then it was cool, and I did like this in this article, how it actually gave you a spot, and it gives you tips to help friends or family members if they've been diagnosed with depression or you think they may have it, to help them. And a lot of them were, some of them were more obvious. Like one of the ones on there was never ignore suicidal comments and things like that, which I feel like that's obvious to us, but I also feel like, I guess in this day and age, a lot of us were like, oh my gosh, I want to kill myself. Like you feel it says like, I want to kill myself, and you just kind of blow it off. But for someone suffering with depression, that could be like a serious thing. That could be like a cry for help, or they're actually going to do it. So yeah, it's obvious, but you still have to pay attention. Another one was try and I thought this was interesting, trying to get them to do physical activity. And it made sense once I read it, because, physical activity, endorphins, makes you happier. It's kind of like, I think in the thing it says nature's medicine, because you're out in nature, you're walking around, you're getting exercise, your blood's pumping. I could see how that one related, but I'd never thought about that. But yeah, just like inviting them to do stuff. But it said in the thing, which I thought was interesting, it said invite them, but don't be overbearing. So maybe like, hey, we're going on a hike. Did you want to go? And if they say no, don't sit there and haze them. Come on, man, you never want to do anything. It kind of said give the gentle approach of, okay, hey, maybe next time, or hey, maybe we can go do something later. Just kind of ease them into it, so like eventually they'll say yes, but always have that offer out there. Um, and another one that I guess it kind of just flew over my head was make sure they're going to their appointments. In my head, I thought, okay, if I'm sick and I want to get better, I'm going to go to all my appointments to get better. But in cases of depression, sometimes you just don't want to do anything. Like this, like some of the signs, you just don't want to do anything, and so that might cause you to miss your appointments. And so, one of the ways to help them is they said like offer to take them to their appointments, so they're getting there and they're going, and they're there. So that kind of sums up what I read, and it was a very interesting read. But yeah.